Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Random Chatter. This is episode number 314. With me tonight, I have Eric and Tim. Eric, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
I am here to talk about all the plethora of news the 2 or 3 news items we have.
We will try to get to all of it for you.
We'll see if we can do that in the next
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Yeah. And we also have Tim. Tim, how are you?
I'm doing the same I was the last 2 episodes we've recorded tonight.
Don't be a smart aleck.
Ruin the magic. I'm
doing very well.
Back to back to back. Come on. This is our first Random Chatter of 2021. Right?
No, it's our second one.
No, last week. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for keeping up, Lou.
Yeah.
Lou, you lost your
For
job.
those who thought 2021 was going to be so much better than 2020, let me explain the ways in which it's already falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, how's that working out for you guys?
Wow.
Oh, good Lord. Well, let's see. We have some network announcements that will help drag the show a little bit longer.
That's a good point.
Without the network announcements. We have a couple of new things going on. We are combining the Outer Rim with Echo Base. Does that mean we're moving Echo Base into the Outer Rim?
No. Well, first of all, Hoth is already in the Outer Rim.
That's true. Yeah.
So
we are going to do the Outer Echo Rim base.
We're not doing the Outer Rim base.
What we're going to do is we're going to stick Tim in a tauntaun. No, we're still recording from our luxurious studio located on Hoth. We're just rebranding the show. So the scoop behind this, and we explained this a little bit in Echo Base 245, we're trying to have a stronger presence on YouTube. And there's already an Echo Base on YouTube and an Outer Rim on YouTube. Now, they're very new, but because they've kind of piggybacked on some controversial current events that kind of spiked their views and things like that, there's a real strong chance of brand confusion there. And none of us own Echo Base. None of us own Outer Rim. Those are trademarks owned by Lucasfilm. So it's not like we can fight it or do anything about it. So we are going to uniquely brand by doing Force Chatter, something we already kind of had as an umbrella for our Star Wars shows anyway. We just weren't really actively using it. And then we're just going to have that be the Star Wars playlist in our Random Chatter section of the YouTube channel. So you're going to get kind of like you get Random Chatter reviews and Random Chatter news. And I think we're going to bring back some like little short form, like weekly news rundown sort of thing for Random Chatter. Maybe we're still going to have news for Force Chatter. So Star Wars news. We're going to have topical discussions like what we would have had in Outer Rim. We're going to have episode breakdowns, like what we had on Outer Rim during The Mandalorian, and then what we had on Knights of the Holotable. So you're still going to get all the same content you got before. It's just going to be a little bit easier to find because it's all going to be just one show. And then it's going to be uniquely branded. So, we know when you're talking about Force Chatter, you mean us. That is going to take place.
That's right.
Yeah, pretty much this coming week. You're not going to, if you get the audio feeds, you're not going to have to do anything different. We're going to try to make it so if you are subscribed to the Echo Base podcast feed, that's where all this stuff is going to go. Now, if you're part of the overall network feed, you're still going to get that too, because all of the network shows are in the Random Chatter Network podcast feed. So, arguably that's the best way to go. That's what a lot of our listeners do. But if you do individual shows, just make sure you subscribe to Echo Base, and that will get renamed and rolled in as Force Chatter. So you won't have anything to worry about. Episode 1 is going to be recorded this time next weekend. So you can be there for that live if you'd like, randomchatter.com/YouTube. And we will be going live sometime between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's the big scoop.
That is it.
Yeah.
Echo Outer Base Rim episode 1.
Not that.
No.
Nope.
Episode 1, yes.
True.
Outer Base Echo upside down. No, none of that. But Tim, you have a new show that is not titled with 18 different names. Tell us about MCU TV.
Yes, MCU TV. We premiered. We recorded yesterday. Our first episode. We were going to do an episode ahead of WandaVision anyhow. And we ended up doing this episode associated with the 2 episodes that were released on Disney Plus of Marvel Studios Legends. The first one was for Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch. The second one was for Vision. These were much shorter episodes than we expected Marvel
basically
to put out.
Trailers.
Really long trailers.
But we talked about them on the show. We introduced the show, the premise of the show, what we're doing, which, in a nutshell is very similar to what we did on Outer Rim, which is carrying over to Force Chatter, aka Echo Outer Rim Base, which is basically reaction episodes. So we're not going to have news there or any prolonged discussion. It's simply, reactions to the episodes that we see, a little bit of talk on maybe how we think things are connected elsewhere in the MCU and that kind of stuff. But by and large, pretty focused on that material. So we are looking forward to episode 2 coming up this coming weekend, which is going to be for WandaVision. And they are releasing 2 episodes on Friday on Disney Plus for WandaVision. So we are going to do a super mega double packed episode of MCU TV.
Now, I have a question.
Nice.
Yes.
When we were doing the Outer Rim as bonus content for our Patreon donors at the bonus and premium levels, we were doing a watch together, which is kind of like a loose, unscripted audio commentary sort of thing that people could listen to while they rewatch the episode. And I know that you're going to be doing that for MCU, for WandaVision, eventually Loki. And we're going to do that for other like non-Marvel, non-Star Wars stuff too, when there are no shows on, just as a way to keep that bonus content coming from people. It doesn't have to be tied to a particular podcast. But are you going to be doing that for both episodes for the premiere? And if so, are you staggering them? What's your plan for that?
We will probably, we'll probably record them separately so we can stagger them a little bit instead of just releasing, one big long review type of thing like that. We haven't really fully discussed the logistics of it or specifically who's going to be part of it, but it was a great thing that we did with Outer Rim. It was a lot of fun for us to do as hosts, to just kind of get together and talk about it, kind of give some live commentary, if you will. And so we're going to continue that for the Marvel stuff.
I figured you might not have a plan, but it also gave me a way to plug that. So I thought,
Totally. Absolutely.
Sounds good. Now, Tim, do you know when they're dropping those episodes on Disney Plus? Are they like 3 a.m. like
I would bet money they're 3 a.m.
Yeah, because they do, it's 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time because they do midnight West Coast time. So that's why it ends up as 3 a.m. here. So, So I usually end up crawling out of bed a little bit earlier, like, 5:30. And
how long are those episodes going to be? Do you know? Is it a half-hour show, hour show?
I'm expecting probably somewhere between like 40 to 60 minutes for each one. So probably something similar to what we saw for most of the Mandalorian episodes.
The last 10 minutes being credits.
Yeah.
I'm going to be working.
So with 10 minutes of
I guess I can watch it on, if it comes out at 3, I will have one more break. I could catch one of them.
Yeah. I expect at least the first episode is going to be largely black and white because it is emulating a 50s TV show. It was also the only episode that they actually shot in front of a live studio audience.
Interesting.
They wanted to, they wanted to get that sitcom vibe. They only did it for the first episode, but they wanted to get the sitcom vibe with it. And, seeing an interview with Paul Bettany and Lizzie Olsen talking about it, they said, because neither one of them had ever done anything like that, they said that they were terrified.
I bet.
Lizzie Olsen said that she had some flashbacks to, her sisters doing Full House because they had a live studio audience, but of course she wasn't acting in that. So, for this, when they first came out, they were kind of terrified. It was kind of like the first joke was they were like waiting, like Does the audience think it's funny? Oh, they did. Yes, we scored.
Nice.
So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We're
looking forward to that and your show too.
Yeah.
So cannot wait. Let's see here. Let's get right into the massive news stories we have. So first off, what was that?
Oh, I think he just said sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He's trying to pad the episode out longer because there's no news. So the more hiccups we have along the way, the more we have a normal length show.
Let's see here. So first off, we have a kind of a tiff between Warner and Legendary Entertainment for the streaming rights to Godzilla versus King Kong.
Yeah, this goes back to that whole HBO thing. Hey, we're going to release everything on HBO Max. Even though the production studios are like, wait a minute.
AT&T, right? Because AT&T owns HBO Max, and they're saying, the big bad company is just doing things that aren't really right for the rest of entertainment. But I mean, as a viewer, I'm happy HBO is doing this kind of stuff, but it does make me worried for the future of entertainment.
Well, I mean, yeah,
what do you guys think about
it's
this?
definitely a smack in the face to the production studios, and there are lots of groups involved in making a movie. You've got the actors and the directors and the camera people and everybody involved in shooting, but you've also got the writers, typically plural. You've got the pre-production visual art people, the people who make the animatics and stuff like that. You've got the editors and the post-production and the special effects people. So people are familiar with those groups. But then beyond that even, and a lot of times even in a different company, you have a distribution studio that's sometimes separate from a production studio. You have the financiers, or the producers who some producers are like executive producers who are involved in the creation of the content, and other producers just throw money at it. But that money's important because without that money, you don't actually have a movie. But the problem is those people expect to get their money back on their investment. And there are contracts that they write up and that they sign stipulating that very thing. And
traditionally that money, the bulk of that money is made in the box office.
And in fact,
because we're making
the
movies,
contracts
and movies get released in theaters.
Reference, we're getting this many points from box office gross and this and that. Well, so you could argue that, well, if it doesn't go to the box office, I guess we don't have to pay you. And I don't think that's what's going on here. But like, that's the kind of things that nobody really ever had a reason to take into consideration before COVID. And now it's a whole different ballgame. So the producers and the investors are saying, well, we want our money. And HBO is distributing it, but it's Legendary who actually produced it. Am I correct on that?
It's a Warner Brothers production. Legendary, particularly in the case here of Godzilla versus Kong, Legendary fronted the majority of the production costs, like 75% of the $200 million to make the movie. And Warner Brothers just unilaterally made this decision of, well, hey, we're going to put it up on HBO Max. And Legendary said, whoa, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. There's a profit model here that you're not accounting for, and we kind of want our money back.
Right.
Now, as this story kind of started to unfold, Legendary was actually going to, because they had fronted the money, they had most of the rights on this. They were actually lobbying to sell the film to Netflix.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild when you think that, like, so this is a franchise film, Godzilla versus Kong. This is
right.
It's not a huge, massive franchise, but it is a franchise film. It's had films before it. It's going to have films after it. And for them to approach Netflix, they were going to sell it to Netflix for $225 million. Warner stepped in and said, oh, no, you're not. You are not going to sell this off. So this was just kind of the genesis of this whole tiff between them. Warner did realize that they had to make good on the financial obligations.
Yeah.
Not only to Legendary, but also to cast and crew, because in a lot of cases, especially like your headline cast, your actors, they're getting paid a base fee and then they're getting residuals.
Yeah, bonuses based on performance.
Right.
Yeah, and that performance comes out of the box office. So we're seeing, and for the last couple of years, we kind of talk about it here and there, this whole box office economy thing. Hollywood economy is just a really screwed up thing. And we've now just seen that screwed up thing stuffed into a blender and put on puree. And they're dumping it out, and we have no idea what it's actually going to look like in the end, because they're just turning it all upside down now.
And frankly, nobody wants to eat puree anyway. No. Give me a steak.
No.
Just saying. My understanding was that Legendary had more of a legal standing in this situation than Warner Brothers did. Like for both this, and are they the ones also handling Dune? Okay.
Yes. And Dune is still under negotiation.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Kong seems to largely be finalized, but Dune is kind of earlier in discussion.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, oh, it's Warner Brothers. They're not going to, back down or anything. But then people were like, no, the way the contracts are written, Legendary actually kind of has Warner Brothers in a tight spot at the moment. So
yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is good. I mean, it's like you said, Lou, it's from the point of view of the consumer, it's nice to have it where you can just easily watch it at home. If we are at a point where we can go to theaters when it comes out and watch it there instead, great. But if not, at least we can still see the movie. And this still brings them some revenue in so they can go back and make more movies. But it is the right thing to do to take care of the people who invested in the movie and helped make the movie, like the actors and stuff too, the cast and crew. That is the right thing to do.
There are so many moving pieces when it comes to who takes a piece of this pie and how the numbers are configured and who gets what. It was confusing before COVID. It's even more confusing now.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at theaters where they make all their money off concessions because they don't make any money off the movie because all that money goes to the studios and they don't have, enough to cover anything else. But because it costs them so much to get the movie themselves into the theater. But I don't know. It's just at this point, it's almost like let's let this play out the way it comes so we can see the movies. And then next year, if we can go back to theaters, I'm all for that. I won't be watching them home anymore. I mean, I'd love to sit on my couch and watch it, but
rather than take the movies that have been made that we've been waiting on and wait 2 or 3 more years to get to see them, give us these and take that money and cycle them back into making new movies for us to go see next year when the movies, when the theaters open up that we can be excited about. And, let's keep the ball rolling. I tell you what, the one thing the movie industry does not want to do is to make it so there's no new content coming out. And then people start going back to, I don't think I have one handy because, it's 2021, but people go back to reading books. Movie industry does not want that. So they better start getting some movies released one way or another, because if people have to start finding other ways to entertain themselves, adults reading books, kids going outside to play baseball or soccer or something, movie industry is gone.
Right. We don't want that.
No, they got to fix that.
Kids getting exercise and kids getting sunlight and vitamin D. No, can't have
and the whole vitamin D supplement industry would go down the tubes. All those people without jobs. I mean, come on.
Got to protect their jobs, definitely. Anyway, so who's got a note in here about HBO Max being glitchy?
I do.
We are really scraping the bottom of the barrel for news this week.
Well, so this has been a thing apparently since about Christmas.
Yeah.
When Wonder Woman 84 came out, a lot of people were complaining that they were having problems with some of the functionality of the app, be it from a tablet or from a smart TV or whatever. A lot of the complaints were specifically with Wonder Woman 84. My guess is that it was just simply because that particular data stream was getting overwhelmed. especially, Christmas
or
Day.
because the movie was no, sorry.
Let's not revisit that.
Now, but I've personally have had issues with the app overall.
Yeah.
Like I've had the app get stuck just cycling on a loading process for like minutes on end. I've had problems simply like even closing and resetting the app. I've had to on one of our TVs, I had to uninstall it and reinstall it. So it's kind of, it's been an up and down kind of a thing. Basically often enough. I don't know, Lou, you watch yours through your Apple TV, right?
Yeah, it's been flawless on the Apple TV.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Okay.
And even on my phone and stuff, it's been flawless.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of watching on my phone, like at work and stuff like that. And other than the fact that the cellular connection there is iffy. I've had no issues, but I have heard of some of these issues of glitchiness and stuff. I don't know.
Hoping that HBO is able to get it fixed. Whatever kind of a patch they need to put in.
They just need to get the vaccine out so we can get that.
Just remember, you got to get 2 updates to the app.
2, a month apart, right?
2 weeks apart.
Yep.
I know a lot of televisions are running Android operating systems, so I wonder if maybe it's an Android thing, and that's why Lou and I aren't seeing it. I will tell you this: my television, I swapped my main television with another television I've been using as like a video monitor for the video podcasts and stuff, because that one was a better TV. So I set that up in the living room now. It doesn't always want to switch inputs. So I hit the button to go to a different input, and I get the little spinny ball, and it's not the one for the Apple TV. It's the one for the television. And I have to go reboot the television. And I just want to say I am all for modern technology, but kids, I do remember a time where you turned a television on, and what instantly, as soon as the phosphorus warmed up, like whatever signal it was getting, that was what was on your screen. You didn't have to reboot your television. You didn't have to update the firmware and wait, quote, up to 30 minutes, even though it's typically like 4 or 5 minutes. But when I turn my television on, it's because I want to watch something right then. It's not because I want to watch something 5 minutes from then. And also, I don't want to spend 5 minutes hitting a button that doesn't work, so that I then have to hit 14 other buttons to then restart it so that I can hit that button again and maybe it'll do the right thing. Like, I don't
it's frustrating.
need a smart TV. I need a dumb TV that my smart devices can utilize.
Yeah. The most complexity we ever had was that if you wanted to use the set-top box, you had to turn your TV to channel 3.
Yeah.
That was
right.
As we mentioned in the last episode, kids ask your parents.
Or you had to turn the antenna to the right angles.
There was that too.
And the moment you let go of the antenna, then that screws it up because your body wouldn't.
That's why you always asked your parents for a younger sibling for Christmas, because then they could go and hold the antenna in the right spot.
Hold the revenues, right.
Or change the channel before remote control.
Yeah, that was the remote control, is your younger sister.
Yeah, hey, walk over to the TV, turn it on. It's funny because
those were brutal times.
The horror. The horror. But you mentioned the whole first world problems thing, Eric, and I agree, because I have the same problem with my Honda Pilot sometimes. The audio interface doesn't always work quite right, so I have to reboot the car to get. I'm like, really? I can't turn the volume up and down on my radio because the iPhone isn't working right, and I gotta shut it off. And I'm going on the highway at 70 miles an hour, so I gotta.
When it's cold or humid, the USB plug in my car that goes to my CarPlay doesn't work until the car's been running for a little bit. So I have to take a little SIM extractor that you like put inside of your iPhone to pop the little tray out for your SIM card, or take like a paper clip basically. And I have to hit that reset button on the dash of my car stereo, which, doing 150 miles an hour down the highway, it's really hard to hit a moving target that's like that big. So,
and they said that, playing with your phone was distracting driving, trying to get your phone to work.
Well, with the hands-free system that's built into the car for your safety. Yeah, no, in the meantime, I'm going to crash getting that to work. So, it's all good. But yeah, I'm tired of having to reboot.
I'm actually,
television.
oddly enough, having flashbacks to the Super Nintendo when you had to like blow on the cartridge, or you had
that's
to,
a
like,
myth, by the way, that you had to do
forth.
that. Everybody did it. But
everyone did it, but yeah, it's still.
You remember like the old school video game systems though? You had to, so you plugged in the coax cable to the television, but you had this little box with this little like black stick on a slider. And you would slide it back and forth to go from the game system back to your television.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. We're old.
We are. Remember Pong?
Good old days.
Oh yeah.
I do remember Pong.
Remember the TRS-80? Yeah. What else do we have in the news?
Well, speaking of things that are old, you guys remember Quibi?
No. Wasn't that like some ancient streaming service?
Yes.
Okay.
But only for little itty bitty
people?
Like commercials.
Oh.
In a long
instead
time
of
ago,
paying to get rid of commercials, you got to pay to get commercials. Is that what?
Yeah.
That would have been a good
And it ran a long
branding.
It ran a long time
was-
ago, back in 2020.
I remember that year.
Remember that?
Who started Quibi? Was Quibi an NBC thing?
I don't remember.
No, I think Quibi was its own startup.
Yeah, it was. But it was some big backers. It was it Katzenberg?
Yeah.
Or like
they had some
like
people
not Spielberg, but like a Spielberg level executive.
Yeah.
So it lasted for a few months, and then it went away.
Like literally a couple months.
Yeah. And now it appears that it may be coming back. It looks like who is it here? Roku is.
Is it really coming back, or is it just finishing its initial launch? So I mean, let's call it what it is here.
It's still within its launch window.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's just
Like if it's still within that free trial period, is it really coming back, or is it that it just never got there in the first place? Just saying.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, the whole concept behind Quibi was what, under 6 minutes would be the shows.
Under 6, under 10, something like that.
And I just don't see the draw.
So the idea,
I
it's a legitimate concept. I still don't know how effective it would have been if COVID didn't happen. But the idea was like when you're on a 15-minute break at work or a smoke break, or you're waiting in the doctor's office for your appointment, or you're picking your kid up from soccer practice and you're sitting there waiting for them to show up or something. You could have these little bite-sized episodes, I guess, of a series. So the idea is, and to be fair, YouTube has made a killing off of this. A lot of YouTube videos are typically 5 to 20 minutes long. So there's a market for it if done properly. But what happened is people are still using YouTube because they use it for so many other things. And it's basically a video search engine. And you've got how-to things and educational things and whatever. Quibi, to pay for it, that's the other thing, YouTube's free. When you're no longer going anywhere, when you're at home, you don't want to sit down for a 5-minute thing. You want to find something that's like an hour long because you got nothing else to do, nowhere else to go. So COVID really killed the concept of Quibi.
Killed Quibi.
Yeah.
Darn it, COVID. COVID killed Quibi.
And that's assuming Quibi would have worked otherwise. But I do see the argument for it. But we never really got to test whether it would have been successful or not because, that was the one time period where that exact thing, that exact type of platform can't really succeed. But back to the idea of having to reboot your television, at least Roku's getting it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll be free.
Yeah, I would much rather my television be a display for all my other smart devices.
Yeah, I'd rather have
I've always wanted
I have a Amazon Fire TV stick and I've got an Apple TV, and I love both of them. Like I have a hard time deciding which of the two to use. I like them both that much. I have not liked any television interface. Don't want it. Just give me a freaking, basically a video monitor with some speakers built in. You know?
No built-in speakers. Get
well, for those of us who are poor, you know, we
at least get a sound bar.
Yeah, I do have a cheap sound bar. Walmart for the win. Yay.
Okay, finally, Tim, you put the sad news at the end.
I know. I'm sorry.
Damn it, Tim! Another cancellation.
You should always start making us sad, and then we can leave happy. I don't know. There's no happy news in here. So what are you getting at? Like it's all.
I mean, Quibi was pretty happy.
Really? Are you happy about?
Maybe laugh.
I made you laugh. Quibi didn't make you laugh. You haven't even watched it yet.
True.
Chrissy Teigen plays a judge on Quibi.
That's just sad.
Like, really, Lou? Like, that's, I mean, I'm only going to get so happy about Quibi coming back from the dead. Zombie Quibi. Anyway.
But yeah, so Toy Fair, the annual
I missed
event
that magazine.
in New York that is, what?
Toy Fair magazine.
Toy Fair magazine?
Yeah, he had Wizard magazine for comic books. You had Toy Fair magazine for collectibles. And then, you know, Robot Chicken, right?
Oh, yeah.
Seth Green and Senright, whatever his name is. They did, before Robot Chicken came along, they used to do those skits, but they did them in like comic book panel form in the middle of the Toy Fair magazine books. They had like all kinds of Star Wars stuff with like Jawas taking over everything.
I had no idea there was a Toy Fair magazine.
Yeah, that was awesome. But is that not the Toy Fair you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about like the con that happens where it's not really a con, but it's the big event for marketing and announcements of new products. Done in New York every year. It's usually early in the year, like February. And this year, nope, COVID.
But it's not 2020 now. We get things now, Lou.
I know,
well, but there's still
we had a new year. It doesn't count. We hit the reset button.
But it still has.
We rebooted the television, Lou.
It's 2021, so it still has 2020 in there.
They were apparently there was talk about them pushing it to May, but then even May is still pretty darn uncertain, so they just canceled it.
Probably smart.
They still do have one that they do in Dallas every year in October, so they're kind of focusing on that one. And they did announce, I think October will probably work. And they did announce that Toy Fair New York 2022 will be happening of February of next year.
Okay.
But this is a big thing because you get a lot of the especially the big lines. You have your Legos and your Hasbros and that kind of stuff. They announced their whole summer line of toys, and it's huge.
And this isn't so much.
In fact, it's something that I'd really love to.
I would love to too.
Sometime.
But like you said, it's an industry.
Last year and just
it's less. It's not really a fan event. It's really truly an industry event. This is so like different toy stores and Walmart and Target and stuff. Their buyers go to these things so that they can figure out what they're going to stock on their shelves over the summer. This is something that directly affects the industry. This is not like an entertainment event.
So do the buyers not see the Star Wars Black Series stuff that Hasbro puts up at Toy Fair?
Maybe Hasbro needs a bigger booth.
Because no one's buying it.
I don't know.
But then again, Hasbro hasn't done their
Target buys some. I saw a Cara Dune figure.
Talk about the whole pre-order thing.
It was like on a blister pack thing, but it was like $25, and it looked like bigger than the regular stuff, but smaller than the Black Series stuff. And I couldn't even really figure out what it was. And then I'm like, I don't have $25 at the moment anyway, so I kept walking. But
that's cool.
But yeah, I mean, Target has some. Walmart just doesn't have any.
I was going to try some of my Target on home tonight, but there was a line outside, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to wait.
Line outside?
Yeah, no, screw that.
Yeah, for, COVID.
Are you serious?
Yeah, too many people in the store.
For people wanting to get
you
COVID?
Have...
People are in
Lou,
line
come down to West Virginia. Down here, they don't even make you wear a mask. No, I mean, they've got the signs on the building, so it's okay. So they're legally in compliance. They have the signs posted like they're supposed to, but you don't have to actually wear them going in. Right? No, and we don't have lines. What are you talking about?
COVID, go away. Yeah. Well, I mean, this cancellation of Toy Fair is, in my mind, it's, just the start of what's going to be canceled in 2021. I mean, I'm not trying to be a doomsayer or a negativeness about this, but
we've talked about it.
We are worse now than we were last spring, right? I mean, there's higher cases, there's more, So I'm wondering how much stuff is really going to go on during 2021 that we want to come back. I mean, I want all these things to happen, but
it's just not going to. I mean, we have one of two things. We either have to start doing the stuff that we were supposed to do early in 2020 and everybody whined about it. Sorry, people, but it's whining.
Right.
I don't like wearing a mask for 13 hours a day at work either. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, I hate it. And I do it every day without exception. And I don't take it off unless I'm eating, because that's what you do, because I care about the people around me and I care about my family members. So that's what you do. Different periods of time in history, there are plagues, there are epidemics, and you get through them as a community. You don't get through them as a bunch of individuals who just do whatever the heck you want. So, because we didn't do it earlier, we either have to do it now and then wait for that effect to actually have an effect, or we have to get the vaccine going, which is in progress, but the rollout's been slow.
Right. Or both.
Or both. Right. Well, I mean, if you don't have the vaccine yet, go back to plan A. Because, so, yeah, I mean, it's not, we talked about this before, it's not going to be anytime soon. We're looking at least mid-year, thanks to the vaccine, because if we have to do the mask thing, nobody's doing that. And yet, other countries seem to have done pretty well. People I talked to in Australia and New Zealand, they're like, what epidemic?
Yeah, right. Right. They're doing well.
Because they took it seriously. But sorry, didn't mean to get on a soapbox. But you're right. We're not going to be able to do, especially conventions. Like, of all of the things, the last type of event you're going to be able to go back to should be live sporting events, frankly. Right. And though a lot of those are outdoors. Yeah, so I get the counterpoint on that too, though I stand by the fact that I think sporting events and conventions, because you are in such close proximity for such a long period of time with so many people, especially conventions, because people are coming from all over the country or other countries.
Right.
Because it's a collection of coming together of people.
Yeah. And we've known about how things are transmitted at cons for years. Yeah. I mean, they call it con. Right?
It's a thing.
It happens. It's not just cons.
It's a meme.
It's work events too. It's, you go to a large work gathering and you're going to come back with something.
It's like going on a cruise.
A lot of people.
Which I also like. Yep. I actually like cruises. And when COVID's done, hey, the 2 cruises I went on, they were militant about hand sanitizers and stuff like that. We didn't have a lot of people on our cruises getting sick. And again, do the right thing. But conventions are a lot like cruises. You get a lot of different people from a lot of different areas who are going to be spending all day in the same area. Mm-hmm. And people are going to go home sick. Yeah.
Well,
looking forward to celebration though.
Yeah, 2022.
Yeah. That's right.
I'm having good thoughts about that because it's a year and a half away.
Yeah, 2020 also. 2022. Yep.
We'll be there.
Well, that does bring us to the end of this episode. Stay safe. Wear masks. Download our podcasts. Go to randomchatter.com/Patreon. If you want to help support us, go to randomchatter.com/store to get some shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff. Get your Echo Base shirts while they last.
Outer Rim, yeah. They won't be there long. Get them now. They'll be collector's items. Vintage.
That's right.
You can sell them on eBay for like all of the monies.
Half of what you bought it for. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, I think that does it, folks. So we'll see you guys in about a week. Eric, Tim, thanks for joining us tonight. And we'll come back at you guys